A reading from John's Gospel, chapter 16, reading from verse 16. A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while and you will see me, because I go to the Father. Then some of his disciples said among themselves, What is this that he says to us? A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while and you will see me, and because I go to the Father. They said therefore, What is this that he says, a little while? We do not know what he is saying. Now Jesus knew that they desired to ask him, and he said to them, Are you inquiring among yourselves about what I said? A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while and you will see me. Most assuredly I say to you, that you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice, and you will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in labour, has sorrow because her hour has come, but as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. Therefore, you now have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you. Jesus says, Therefore, you now have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you. Since the arrival of coronavirus and the 8 weeks of lockdown, there have been many emotions on show, ranging from fear, anxiety, and maybe even anger for some. Alongside these, there have been gratitude and thanksgiving for those whose work on the front line, who have supported, comforted, and helped in these testing times. Then we have had Captain or Colonel Tom Moore, who captured the hearts of the nation with his amazing endeavour, which raised so much money for the NHS. However, I think a sense of joy has been in short supply in these past weeks. Yet Jesus says, Your joy no one will take away. Sadly, for many, the Christian faith has been associated with gloom. There's a story of the old Yorkshire carter who was found one morning after a night of drinking, somewhat the worse for wear, with his arms round the neck of his donkey. He stroked its long nose, saying, Ned, man, they must be getting right religious. You've got such a long face. Or nearer home, there is Ricky Fulton's wonderful I Am Jolly. And sadly, that is how some folk outside the church see us. There's a story told of the young girl attending church for the first time. She turned to a sombre-faced regular and asked him, Have you heard this amazing story about Jesus before? He replied, Yes, often. She said, Well, you don't look like you have. I wonder, what kind of image do we present to those around us who know little about the Jesus we know and follow? The New Testament is the most joyful book in the world. It opens with a shout of joy over the birth of Jesus, and it ends with that superb picture of a great multitude singing joyful hallelujahs. Often we think of Jesus as the man of sorrows. And yes, there is tragedy and sorrow in the story of Jesus. And the Christian faith never suggests that there will be no difficulties and sorrows in the experience of life for us. But it does speak of a very real and deep joy that enables us to deal with and come through difficult times. Your joy no one will take from you. One of the sayings Jesus used often was, Be of good cheer, or cheer up. To a paralysed man, he says, cheer up, your sins are forgiven. To the disciples caught in a storm, he says, cheer up, I'm here, don't be frightened. As he faces the cross, he says to the disciples, cheer up, I have conquered the world. He also says, these things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and your joy might be full. Throughout the ages, Jesus' followers have been able to echo these words of Nehemiah. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Your joy no one will take from you. Philip Brooks, the writer of The Little Town of Bethlehem, was a much-loved pastor in New England. A Boston newspaper once said, it was a dull, rainy day when things looked dark. But Philip Brooks came through Newspaper Row and all was bright. What a compliment. I wonder, do folk say the same of us? That no matter how bad the circumstances, do we radiate joy? Robert Louis Stevenson wrote this prayer after he had gone to Samoa to die. Give us to awaken with smiles. Give us to labour smiling. And as the sun lightens the world, so let our loving kindness make bright this house of our habitation. Your joy no one will take from you. This deep joy comes from the knowledge that all things are in the hands of God. And when we embrace this certainty, we will experience deep joy. When we open our lives to the Holy Spirit, He will produce His fruits in our life: love, joy, and peace. When we give ourselves in the service of others, we will find joyful blessings. Jesus found great joy through healing the sick and leading sinners back to God. It is in serving others that we will know the joy of the Lord. Remember the words of the old chorus that tells us where real joy is to be found? Jesus first, yourself last, and others in between. So even in the midst of coronavirus and lockdown, may you know the truth of Jesus' words. Your joy no one will take from you. Let us pray. Help us to live in the joy of the Lord, that we might enable those around us to experience it also. Amen.